Good afternoon from Charlotte, North Carolina. I am your host, Marie Groves, today with the extreme honor and pleasure to introduce to you Miss Pinky Red. She is, my gosh, Pinky, I'm going to tell you that as I've talked to you and as I have read your bio, it is just unbelievable the things that you have accomplished in your life. And I stand in awe of how God has used you and just how diligent that you have been to do the things that you've done. I have a very entrepreneurial spirit myself, so it is, I cannot even tell you the excitement that is within me to talk to you today and kind of get into your head a little bit and kind of figure out where all of this started from. Let me introduce you to our listening audience so that they know just how exciting this interview is. Gracious, she has been an entrepreneurial, she is from the Midwest. She's been in business for over 2 decades. I know she looks like she's only 15 years old, but hey, you know, what can you say? Some of her businesses have included owning a nail salon, a hair salon, a clothing store, a janitorial service, a mobile notary service, tax company, 2 daycare centers. She's been a foster parent. She mentors, she volunteers. She stepped into the music industry in 2014, where she has managed, groups. She's written a song. She's produced her own energy drink. And oh my gosh, guys, this is just to name a few. So, Pinky, I am going to turn this over to you because I just got to ask you, first of all, where did this all start? What kind of raising did you have that gave you this passion and this beast mode mentality that I absolutely adore?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. My name is Pinky Red. Oh man, this started back when I was 20 years old. I started, I wanted to do something on my own. I wanted to have something like, I started doing management when I was 18. I was a manager at Burger King. And I started doing management and I was running companies and I'd seen all that. And I was like, I want to do my own thing. So I started off, oh my gosh, what was the first one? I think the janitorial service was the first one, I believe. It was the first one that I did. I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing like computers, didn't like any of this. I kind of figured it all out. Went to school for nails, had a nail salon. And then I had some issues with my daughter in daycare. So I decided to open up a daycare center. Started in my home, had a brand new home, had it built from the ground, brand new. Decided I was going to bring kids into my house. So it started off as a daycare center. I had like maybe about 2 or 3 kids starting off with. And then it started growing and I couldn't have it in my house. So I ended up going out, finding a building that used to be a daycare center. It was 8,000 square feet building. And I did everything, no loans, no grants, no type of funding at all. I used to make copies of flyers and cut the bottoms of them with the number on it and take it to laundromats and places like that, stick them up, go to the schools. I got a van and I put the little thing on the side of the van with my information on it. And I just kind of went out there and just found children. And then I wanted to be a foster mom. So I ended up going through the program and doing all that with the state, being a single mother with 3 kids. I was 20, I think I was 20. I don't remember how old I was when I started the daycare. I was young, 3 children. They're 2 years and 10 months apart, and I ended up doing a daycare. Foster mom, loved it. I'm the youngest of 4 kids, and there's like a 10 years difference between me and my siblings. My mom was an entrepreneur. She used to do like the Mary Kay, and she used to go on these trips with Mary Kay and get these cars, and so that's where it came from. It came from my mother, because she was an entrepreneur, and then my older siblings, they were entrepreneurs, and so kind of like in my bloodstream to be an entrepreneur. So it's kind of
That is absolutely awesome. You know, you and I have so much in common because my parents were involved in Amway when I was growing up. And so I get what you mean when, you know, you watch your parents and you watch them go after something. And I remember that as a teenager, they used to take me to all these meetings, and I was the babysitter. You know, I would babysit all the kids, their friends and whatever. But I remember sitting in those meetings and watching people cross stage that, you know, had worked hard and earned different levels. And I remember thinking to myself, I can do that. I can do that. And I have told my mom and dad numerous times, thank you so much for being in that industry in my formative years of how you form your brain in the teenage years. It taught me so much work ethic and so much about that I could literally go out and do anything I wanted to do. So I relate to you and I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, was your mom a single mom?
What's funny is when you say Amway, I'm originally from I was born in Detroit, raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Well, Amway's in Grand Rapids, so it wasn't like out of Wyoming or something, but it's like in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So when you said Amway, I think my mom did that too. I remember all those Tupperware, and she would get mad when I used to lose the lids on them. So yeah, I remember all that. My mom was actually with the 3 children. There's like a 10 years difference, but with the 3 children, she was married. When she had me, she ended up moving away. So she was a single parent when she raised me with the 4 children. And then my stepfather, who's been in my life since I was 5 years old. So yeah, he's been around forever.
That is awesome. So this is just purely a question for me because I just find you very intriguing. Out of all the things that you've done up to this point, which business would you count or would you deem as probably your biggest success?
So far,
I'm so sorry, you broke up. Can you say that one more time?
Oh, I'm sorry. The daycare center, so far, the daycare center. And the daycare center being a foster mom was the most rewarding.
Mm-hmm. And I get that. I actually adopted 2 kids from Guatemala. And so I have your heart. I know where you're coming from in there. So let me ask you, so you did all those things, and are those still open? I don't know if you've moved out of those or not.
Yeah, I sold the daycare. It's been about 12 years now. 12 years or so, a little longer than that. I sold the daycare centers. My kids they were going into high school, and they were just like, we want our mom. So I like they were around kids for so long, you know, so I was actually going to adopt one of the little girls, but then there was some issues with her and my daughter. So I was like, So I kind of just like stopped doing that and started mentoring young girls that were pregnant with children. So I started mentoring so that I could stay within that field. And then I kind of sold the daycare and kind of moved on, but still mentored, went through life, went through some changes, some challenges. My sister passed away of breast cancer. That was my turning point. That was the turning point in my life because that was like she was the second oldest, and she was the oldest girl. It's 2 boys and 2 girls. And so that was the turning point. I didn't understand a lot of that at the time. She passed away of breast cancer. I didn't understand a lot of that. I kind of understand more now that sometimes people have to pave the way. Sometimes God will to help us. My sister and my parents were both involved in church. I was in church, but I was one of those kids that was, I was one of those children. I was the youngest. I was spoiled, and I was just out of control. I was really, really out of control. But when she passed away, that kind of was my turning point in my life to kind of get my life together. And that's just when I kind of went through life for a while, trying to figure it out. Corporate America, going back to jobs, really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I think I was lost for a while. Got injured at work at one of my jobs, lost my job. It was just a lot went on. I got married, divorced, lost my house, went through a whole lot. And finally, I was just like, okay, God, had to surrender. Like, I had to quit fighting it, quit trying to do everything on my own, and just really walk my walk. Really just asking, what do you want me to do? What's next? Like, here I am. Like, I don't even know. I'm lost. Like, help. And my life has changed ever since. So it's been rough. My children are all grown, 28. To her apartment at the college. And so I decided I wanted to move just out of nowhere because I'm in entertainment, would come to Atlanta quite a bit. So I decided I wanted to move to Atlanta. So I told my job, I was like, either you transfer me or I'm leaving. And they transferred me down here. I was down to here in Atlanta for a month and got injured. Went home, stayed with my parents for a couple of weeks, had to come back because it's an injury. They wouldn't let me transfer it to Indiana. I had to stay here in Georgia. So here by myself, injured. And my life, I thought it was over. I walk with a limp. I have nerve damage. I had 2 procedures, and after each procedure, I got worse. I'm in constant pain, but I don't stop. During this quiet time, he's shown me a lot. I've grown a lot. He's shown me a lot. It's just a lot. I've learned a lot. I've matured a lot during this time, but I got to see a lot of things that I didn't see in the last 40-some years of my life. Like, I just got to see so much, and I understand my purpose now. I kind of know what I'm supposed to be doing now. And then everybody's like, well, why do you keep starting all these businesses? I was like, because I pray big, bold prayers. I want a corporation that's going to help the masses. I want to be a blessing to any and everybody I can. So in order to do that, sometimes you just got to step out here and go in all these different directions, but he's guided me. So it's okay. I'm at peace with everything that I do. I'm meeting people. I'm even in the entertainment business, being in, nightclubs, you get criticized, but I'm able to witness in a way that they understand because they see me. They see I don't drink, don't smoke, don't do any of that. So they're able to see things. I'm able to witness in the way that he wants me to witness and reach people that normally we're not going to be able to reach because they're not going to come to church. So he's putting me in places that a lot of people don't agree with me being, but that's okay because I'm doing his will. So
that's so true. And what did I read the other day? I'm trying to remember what it said, but basically people's opinions don't get you to heaven. Only God's opinion gets you to heaven. And I think that is something that is very difficult, or I know it's been very difficult for me to break out of that people's opinions. And I'll be honest with you, the church in Christians can be the worst for being judgmental. But it's, sometimes God brings you to a point where he draws a line in the sand and says, okay, is it going to be them or is it going to be me? And it sounds like he did that in your life. That's awesome. Well, I know that we are getting ready to come to a close here, but I just have to ask you really quick as we kind of transition. Okay, you've come out with an energy drink.
Yes.
Called Pinky Red, am I right?
That's correct.
So real quickly, tell me about what's behind that energy drink and why are you so passionate about that?
I was drinking energy drinks like crazy, just trying to stay awake, just everything that I'm doing. And so I was like, you know what? I just need to create my own. So I created it. It's the drinks that give you life when you need it. The pink and white one is in representation of my sister. My name, actually, Pinky, comes from the pink, because breast cancer symbol is pink. My real hair has always been red. So we came up with Pinky Red, and one of the energy drinks, the colors, is basically representing of my sister. So, yeah.
Wow. So that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. I love it. I'm going to have to see if I can't get my hands on some of those. Now, would you say that what you've come up with is much healthier than what's on the market?
It's not the natural stuff that everybody talks about. It does have some caffeine and it does have 27 grams of sugar. But I am coming out with no sugar, so sugar-free ones. So that
Oh,
help a lot
wow.
of people. Yes, I got some people who are diabetic that want some, so I am creating a sugar-free one just for them. So, yeah.
Okay. And I know that something I don't think I mentioned, you got your own lipstick line, and you're like, yeah, I got it all right there. And what, you have something else too, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
I have a clothing line and entertainment company.
That's what it is. Okay. And so real quick, I know we have 4 minutes. We got to get off here, but clothing line, do you have a website?
The website will be launching in April, www.pinkyred2ds.com.
I love it. I love it. And where was your inspiration for the clothing line?
Being in the entertainment business and seeing all the different people and what they wear, and I'm like, I want to do something a little different.
Oh, that is awesome. I cannot wait. Girl, I absolutely love you. I think you are an absolute blast, and I cannot wait to connect with you more. You have no idea. I know your life is crazy busy, but you have no idea how much WYTV7, What's Your Testimony, appreciates you coming on with us and just being transparent and sharing your life and sharing what's possible in the midst of just real life. And, you know, we all go through real life. And it's easy to look at somebody like you and go, oh my gosh, she has it all together. And look how gorgeous she is. Of course she can do all these things. But I love when you share that you're just normal, you're real. And you've been through it all, but through it all, you've persevered.
Yes.
So I absolutely love it. And, you know, the title of your message today was When God is Ready. And I'm telling you what, when God's ready to use you, you better be ready. So any closing thoughts as we sign off here today? Is there any closing thoughts for people out there that are struggling and trying to figure out what God's will is for their life?
Be still, listen. All things are possible. You can do anything. I always tell people timing is everything. Greater is later. Favor is not fair. I have one of my songs. It's called I Want It All. With God, all things are possible. Believe that, because sometimes you got to go through to get to.
Oh, I love that. Sometimes you got to go through to get through. I love that. Oh, Pinky, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on the show today. And God bless you in everything that you do, and may his favor just shine upon you. And for all of you out there listening, we thank you for tuning in and being inspired by somebody like Pinky Red. And goodness gracious, we will be watching you on your journey, and we'll be cheering you on from WYTV7. What's Your Testimony? And with that, we wish you all a fantastic rest of the day. God bless you.
Thank you.